Ever wonder what's really going on inside an examiner's head? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're deconstructing a tricky GCSE algebra question step by step, using the official mark scheme as our guide to show you exactly how to lock in every single mark. Okay, here's our game plan. We'll start with the algebra challenge itself. Then we'll walk through clearing the fraction, getting p on its own, and then the crucial factorizing step. We'll wrap up by looking at all the possible right answers to make sure we nail those final marks. So, first up, what exactly is the challenge? Let's take a look at the actual problem we're going to solve straight from a Pearson Edexcel paper. And here it is. We have to rearrange this whole formula to make p the subject. Now, the real curveball here, and what makes this such a classic exam question, is that the variable we're after, p, is sitting in both the top and the bottom of the fraction. So, what's our very first move? Let's dive into step 1 and see precisely how we can bag our first mark. Now this is our secret weapon. It's the official mark scheme. It literally tells us exactly what the examiners are looking for at every single stage of the process. Okay, back to the equation. Job number 1 is to get rid of that fraction. It's basically trapping one of our p terms in the denominator, and we've got to break it out of there. And how do we do that? Simple. We multiply both sides of the equation by that entire denominator, the whole 5 minus 2p. That cancels it out on the right and leaves us with a much friendlier looking equation without any fractions. And boom, just like that, you've earned your first mark. The mark scheme is crystal clear. This single correct action gets you an M1, a method mark. You're already on the board just for making this one move. Great, so the fraction is gone. What's next? Our new mission is to get all the pieces of the puzzle that have a p in them all together on one side of the equation. But hang on, before we can start shifting things around, we have to deal with that bracket on the left. We expand it. So t times 5 gives us 5t, and t times negative 2p gives us negative 2pt. Perfect. Now every term is out in the open. And now we can start rearranging. We add 2p to both sides to move it over to the right, and we add 6 to both sides to get it over to the left. And what's the result? All our p terms are now happily grouped on the right, and everything else is on the left. Now check this out. This is a really crucial detail from the mark scheme. This step gets you another method mark, but see where it says dep M1? That means it's a dependent mark. You can only get this point if you've already scored the first one for clearing the fraction. They have to be done in order. Okay, we've got the p terms together, but we've got 2 of them, so how on earth do we turn 4p plus 2pt into just a single p? This, my friends, is where the magic of factorizing comes in. So let's look at the right-hand side of our equation. We have 4p and we have 2pt. It's pretty clear, right? P is the thing that both of these terms have in common. It's their common factor. So we pull that common factor p out to the front and open up a new set of brackets. And what's left inside? Everything that p was originally multiplying, the 4 and the 2t. Just like that, we've isolated it. And there it is. The mark scheme awards our third method mark for doing that factorization correctly. And you can see the note. This mark depends on having those 2 p terms to factorize in the first place. We are on the home stretch now. Let's make our final move to get the answer, and then we'll look at all the different ways you can write that answer and still get that final all-important mark. So, to finally get p all by itself, we just need to divide both sides by whatever is in that bracket, which is 4 plus 2t. This gives us our final answer, and it secures the A1 mark. The A stands for accuracy. It's the mark for getting a fully correct solution. Now, here is a massive tip for any exam. There's often more than one way to write down the correct answer. The mark scheme is ready for this. It allows for different looking, but mathematically identical forms. Like, you could factorize the denominator, or you could multiply the top and bottom by -1. Both of these are totally correct and get full marks. In fact, if you get used to reading mark schemes, you'll see these 2 little letters all the time, OE. It just stands for or equivalent, and it's basically the examiner's way of saying, hey, if your answer means the same thing as this, you're good. All right, let's put it all together. Let's zoom out and recap the entire 4-mark journey to get to the solution. This table just lays it all out so clearly. You get an M1 for clearing the fraction. Then you get a second dependent M1 for isolating the p terms. You follow that with another M1 for factorizing. And finally, you get the A1 accuracy mark for the final correct answer. It's not magic, it's just a clear, logical path.
You see, once you understand the logic of the mark scheme, any scary-looking question just becomes a simple series of steps. The trick is knowing what they're looking for. So, what should we break down next? Let us know.